Hi YouTube, my name is Katya.
Hello, my name is Christian.
And we're ex-Jehovah's Witnesses. How I grew up as a witness. I was born in Denmark, which is in Europe, and my family and I moved to Canada when I was just a little girl. And my whole life I was raised as a Jehovah's Witness, the whole thing. And I got baptized when I was 15, and the last year of high school I decided to do homeschooling at home so that I could become a regular pioneer, because that was my childhood dream. And my parents also got divorced during my childhood, so there were some ups and downs in my life, but yeah, I became a regular pioneer and I did the whole Jehovah's Witness youth stuff, and then shortly after I met my husband, and then we got married. What's your story?
Yep. So I was also born a Jehovah's Witness. My parents were studying before I was born and were baptized shortly after I was born. I became a unbaptized publisher at age 12, and I got baptized at age 17. I met my wife and we got married in 2009, and we have since left exactly a year ago in 2014. We were both regular pioneers and I was ministerial servant. And we were planning to go where the need was great.
The need was great.
The need was great.
We were making lots of spiritual goals. Yeah, we were pretty active Jehovah's Witnesses. Today's video, we're pretty much just going to talk a little bit about what exactly made us wake up. That's the big question, right? Because we were really busy Jehovah's Witnesses. So what exactly made us wake up? And I think he'll kind of explain a little bit of it, because he's the one who started waking up first.
Yeah. So we were in the Spanish Hall, and we were saving up a lot of money so that we can eventually move to a third world country. We were thinking of teaching English to Spanish people, reading the Bible a little bit more without Watchtower literature. But anyways, we went on a vacation, and I remember hearing from somebody, a brother over there, saying that when we get back to Canada that we're gonna hear a huge announcement. And we were just super excited to hear what the announcement was. So out of curiosity I googled it, and
we weren't allowed to know the announcement yet, by the way, because we were in the Spanish.
Yeah.
And only English congregations could know first, so we were kind of a little bit impatient.
Exactly. And we discovered that it was an updated version of the Bible, basically. The
silver sword, the gray one that just came out.
Yeah. And I just couldn't resist going on the internet to check it out, because I was hearing from elders out in service saying, this is going to be a huge announcement, historical, and it's probably going to be the second biggest to Armageddon. So I'm thinking, whoa, maybe this is Great Tribulation or something,
We're like, oh my goodness,
like,
what could it be?
Finally!
Oh my god, the end is near!
So, yeah, that's when I googled it, and then I discovered this website. It's called JW Survey. And I was sifting through, and I thought that the person who wrote it was a brother. So I had no problems initially going on it. But when I saw in the comment section, that's when I saw some comments that looked negative, and negative as a witness, I thought. But I was happy to see it was a new, updated version of the Bible. And then on vacation we heard that there was going to be another announcement coming up, and I just thought,
let's do what we did last time and Google the announcement.
So we Googled it again, and oh, look what came up. JW Survey. And again I read it, and it had to do with the new contribution system, and how the Kingdom Halls, how the loans are supposedly going to be forgiven and so on. That was a huge announcement. I didn't tell my wife then. I honestly didn't think it was a big deal. But the only thing that struck me was in the comment section, I then saw some more things such as failed false prophecies and things like that. I started having some doubts even before. And I came before her and I told her, I'm not sure if I want to be a Jehovah's Witness anymore. You know, and well,
that was like, honestly, back then that was probably the worst day of my life, and I had way worse days than that in my childhood, and that was just the scariest thing ever, because well, we had a Jehovah's Witness future together and goals and the new system, and I didn't understand. It was just very random, and I thought we were going to die in Armageddon that day. It was so scary. I was confused.
Yeah, I loved God and everything, and I just didn't want to do anything that offended him. And
we wanted to know if we were actually serving him this whole time. Like,
yeah,
that's the point of being a Jehovah's Witness, is to serve God. So if we weren't even serving God, then we got to figure out what's going on.
Yeah, and I told her things like, you know, people were so against us getting married, you know, saying that we could do much more. But I remember seeing on social media a governing body member whose wife had died, he remarried, and I'm thinking, well,
Just hypocritical.
Why are you remarrying or getting married in the first place? I thought you don't want other young ones to be getting married and you want them to do more, but...
And he married someone really younger than her.
Was much younger.
Like, could be his daughter, and so we thought that was kind of creepy coming from the governing body, like...
Yeah, that was kind of creepy.
Yeah.
But I also mentioned her the failed prophecy 1914 thing, failed Armageddon. So, but anyways, we were talking in the car for about an hour, and then we just thought, you know what? It's probably Satan's just attacking us, you know, he's just... We're not spiritually strong, we gotta do even more.
Yeah, we try to convince ourselves that we have to rely more on Jehovah, and just these things will be answered in the new system. It really confused us, and something was telling us it wasn't right, but we kept thinking we have to be more humble, and we don't understand everything right now.
Yeah.
Like, we just didn't want it to be real, we just wanted to kind of push it away.
I even tried to, like, strengthen my faith by downloading all the Watchtower Kingdom melodies, and at work I'd be listening, singing to them. Yeah, but that only went so far.
Yeah, it didn't work. Because what we knew kept popping back up. Like, it didn't make sense. Like how can they... The failed prophecies was a huge thing. Like, especially when we saw... I think it's in Deuteronomy.
Yeah.
In the Bible, where it says, like, what makes a false prophet.
Yeah.
And a false prophet is someone who says something is going to happen in God's name, and then it doesn't happen. They're a false prophet. And we realized Jehovah's Witnesses obviously speak for God.
Yeah.
And they had made all these prophecies for the end of Armageddon.
They never make it.
And they never happened. Yeah. Not just once, like many times. So we couldn't make an excuse for that. Like, how are you going to get around that?
Yeah. And then when we came back from vacation, we had our assembly and we were all excited and everything. We got a new suit and a new, like a briefcase, you know.
A new dress below the knee.
And little did we know it was the last meeting we would ever have. And we had a really good assembly. It was really nice. Everyone was really kind to us and everything. We really loved the brothers.
Yeah.
We still call them brothers, but... anyways...
they can be our figurative brother now.
Yeah.
They don't have to be spiritual brothers.
Exactly. I checked again on the Google, and again, JW Survey was the first website that popped up that was most relevant. And that's when I discovered something to do with the Watchtowers Association with the UN. And that just...
That made everything snowball.
That freaked me out, but I didn't believe it. You know, because I just thought these are apostate lies, so, you know, I'm not going to let everything go down the toilet just for some lies. But I wanted to make sure for myself. So I did an investigation, and I did discover that, yes, they actually did. They were members of the United Nations for 10 years. And I was just shocked because I follow the news all the time, and I was looking to see on world events, when is the Great Tribulation going to happen? And I thought it was going to come so close, and here we discover that, actually, they were part of the UN, and all Jehovah's Witnesses know what that means, right? What the UN is to the Watchtower. So that it was a huge shock, and from there on, I started to discover other things such as sex, child sexual molestation, cover-ups, and things like that, and it was horrible.
Like after the United Nations thing was definitely the thing that really got our attention, because that's just something we've been taught our whole life what the United Nations meant, and for them to be with them is just does not make any sense. It's wrong, right? So that was probably the thing that was like, okay, we gotta actually figure out what's going on here. And so we didn't go to any more meetings. We just had to figure out what was going on. We couldn't do both, so we just stayed home and we researched and watched YouTube videos and looked at artifacts and looked at everything.
The more we researched, the more we discovered a mother load of false prophecies and things that didn't come true. And we'll discuss it on the next video, but basically these are things that you never know as a Jehovah's Witness because they never tell you.
It's not in their normal Watchtower and Awake articles.
Yeah.
This is stuff that they don't tell you, or it's old publications, 60 years back, that we don't have anymore.
Yeah.
Right? So how would we know, this generation?
Exactly. So, on the next video, we'll talk to you about how I tried to convince my wife to, wake up with me. And
it was a little harder for me. I was really scared.
Yeah.
So we'll explain that.
And it wasn't easy. It was probably the worst day of our life when we discovered all this.
Yeah, and I'll just mention one last thing. Also, we were pioneering, and we thought we'd also just spend a little extra time of our pioneer time, not just door to door, but helping out some of the brothers and sisters in the congregation who maybe needed some help financially, or maybe they were poor and couldn't afford to buy groceries. We were a little bit better off at that time, so we thought, why not help our brothers? Because that's also important, right? That's what Jesus said, help the poor and whatever.
Gotta help them out.
Yeah, so we did that, and then we gave a lot of groceries to single parent families, and we didn't tell anybody. We just kind of did it from our heart. But then our circuit overseer, he came over and he was, to the congregation. He asked us, he's like, I looked at your guys' report, and you guys have your hours, but you don't have a lot of magazine placements. Why is that? And we're like, well, to be honest, half of our pioneer time we've been doing door to door, but the other half we've been actually giving, some time, encouraging the brothers. And he's like, oh, well, that's nice and everything, but that's not really our focus. You can only count 10 minutes of that.
Yeah.
And we were actually kind of taken aback by that, because that's real love.
We were like, yeah, okay, fine, maybe we just gotta put in more time, just...
It was just little things like that. I know it kind of seems weird, but just little things like that when you're putting your all into something and someone tells you that's not really important, it's just strange. And then there's the other thing too, where we only have one day of the week where we like to go out. Back then, that was Tuesdays. That was not our pioneer day or anything, but we would go to the cheap movie night, and then we heard an article at the meeting saying things like, on our spare time, even when we could go to the movies, should we not instead go in service?
Oh, it was a local needs.
A local needs part. And we just felt our one night after pioneering said that we just get to go watch the movies, and that's not good. We should go in service instead of relaxing. So we were just burning out too.
We were burning out.
So it kind of just all together was making us slowly wake up, I think.
Plus the